Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy, my channel's Finding Value. I've been looking at Ethereum's chart, looking at its consolidation period, aligning it with other sectors. Now, I wanted to see some sectors that could potentially have some insanity, like they were just insane setups and lots of volatility. I'm swinging for the fences here. And one of the areas that I found was solar. Now, I don't know if this analysis is going to be nuts on or not. And what I mean by that is it's difficult to tell if we're exactly the same spot as, say, oil or uranium is in. It very well could be. And if it is in the same spot, if it is, I'm not saying that it is, but if it is, you could see solar go absolutely vertical. Now, does that make sense when I bounce it off of logic? It does. Because if we are going to throw trillions of dollars at alternative energy, the money's going to flow in these. And I've said this before that I had to get some money in it. And I'm putting money in this sector and getting some of these companies. Some of these companies have insane setups, very similar to oil and uranium. I think solar is going to trade similar to the other energy companies, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. It's a difficult one because I don't have all the data, the back data history on solar because it's such a new technology. But if that's what we're going to and that's where money flows are going to go, I don't see how that could be wrong. And obviously, you guys, if you have differing comments or questions, please put it in the comment section. But I'm going to show you these charts. These solar companies have a lot of get up and go. They are very volatile. So you have to get your timing right. And I think the timing right now is actually a very good entry point. Because I think we're really low on where we are in relationship to that pattern. And I'm going to show you what I have here. And these things I call insane solar because they move so much. The potential here could be greater than even like Bitcoin and other cryptos. So first off, this chart didn't go back far enough to show you this star and this arrow. But where I'm proposing we're at is this portion here in 2010, 2011 area is this portion here. And if you scribe out this entire lower area, you scribe it out, where you end up, and this guy there is this guy here, you come on up, you're coming on up. What I'm proposing here is the arrow is at where this arrow is at, and that this alignment with this line here is actually in the same alignment as uranium and oil is right now. And that solar could be trading similarly to oil and uranium. Now, if this is the case, the move on some of these solar companies, because they're so small and in their infancy in terms of development and adoption, these things could go absolutely insane. And I am obviously putting some money into it after looking at some of this data, and I'm choosing the companies based off of many things. Some of them are solely based off the charts because they're insane. But I think this is the case. I think the arrow is where it's aligned here. And I think we could see a very insane move coming up. Absolutely insane. Now, here's Canadian Solar. This is, again, I lined it all up. Now, this one looks a little bit different. The star would be here. The arrow would be pointing at this one. We came on down. We came back up. This upper portion here is this portion all through here. We came on down. We've got the little hump here. That guy, I think, is this guy somewhere in here. We came on up above the channel, and I'm proposing that the arrow, that this arrow here, is this setup here, and that we're right at the bottom of this guy right here. That is a potential area that we're at. And I think that's about right if you really zoom in on this. Now, hopefully that's the case. Now, you could also argue that this area here is this area here, and that this move is this move here. Now, looking at it, that's just describing the bigger picture of the arrow, this arrow here being this guy here. Because remember, the pattern repeats. The pattern in here is creating the pattern for the entire decade plus here. So I think we could say, and it's not with with a lot of confidence though. It's not with a lot of confidence that this arrow is located here, and that what is to follow is this type of move up. It could though. It could be a line like that where this could be a gigantic move higher. This is Sun Power Corporation. Looking at it from this perspective, it makes me think that this arrow here is this guy right here. So star, star, arrow, arrow. You kind of look at how this comes down. Actually, this arrow should be here. Sorry. That arrow should be moved up, and I can't move it on this picture. But you come on down, which is all through here. You come up and over, up and over. You got this little area there. That's that little guy there. You come on sideways and up. Maybe this area here is this where the arrow's at. So we have the big move here, and this is just the starter move before the big guy comes. And I think that's the case if this aligns with the other energy sectors. But again, hard to know. Here's Beam Global. This thing looks pretty insane as well. It didn't go back as far as some of the other ones, but you come on down, you kind of do this up and over, the up and over. You've got that little mark guy there, that guy's there. You come up and over, up and over. And if this section here is this section here, which it very well could be, and we moved on up, this is the first arrow here would be this entire move here. And that the big move is just in front of us at any point now. If it is. Guys, I don't want you to use this as financial advice. I'm just looking at different sectors, trying to look at different ways of looking at things. And the way that this pattern aligns makes me think that money could flow in here quite dramatically, and we could see a move that is just off the charts. And here's Sunrun, another company going sideways here. You can see all the movements. This guy here could be this guy here. It aligns very well. The move on up would then signify that this move is where the arrow is right here. That leading arrow is the leading arrow here, and that this, in fact, moving up is here. And that's why I've been looking at so many of them, because I want to see if we're here or if we're at the top already. But I think we're just starting. And I think we're just coming up and about to launch for a massive move higher. That's where I think what's ahead of us. Now here's Vestas Wind Energy. This one also aligns very well with the, we'll call it the stimulus packages. Money's aligning. The herd is aligning their money for stimulus, and a lot of money flowing into this sector. And when looking at this, the arrow, I think, now this one's a little bit more difficult to read. You could say that this hump here is this hump here, which it would be because the pattern repeats itself. It goes up, but is this making a larger pattern overall on a very big scale where this arrow is here, which means we would see a large move after it, after this consolidates a little bit, and then we can move higher. Possibly, possibly not. I threw in a rare earth strategic metal one, REMX, to show you where that's at. Again, this looks absolutely phenomenal where we're at. Star, star, arrow, arrow. We came on down. We're in this kind of double loop area. We've got the little hump there, the little hump. We're coming up the top. We just broke out. I think we are at the beginning of creating this hump over here, and it seems to be slightly delayed behind the solar area, the rare earths. So I think this is a great spot to be watching REMX. for this little arrow move right here before we launch higher over time. So that one looks good too. Here's Vale. I'm putting in a diversified mining company just to show you, since I didn't have too many of these slides. Triangle, triangle, star, star, arrow, arrow. You draw it in, and I think we're scribing out this arrow portion right here, which means that we also have alignment with energy and with the diversified mining companies. Everything is aligning quite perfectly here for a very large move higher, I think. And it aligns with the market conditions and what I think valuation-wise as well. The same thing's happening with BHP Group to the T, star, star, arrow, arrow, and I think the downward arrow is right where we're at right here. That downward arrow's right there, and we might pull back a little bit before moving higher. A little more pullback and sideways motion before the big launch, or maybe not. It's hard to tell. But that's what I have for today. I wanted to show you some solar companies. It looks like, to me, that we are just putting in the little hump before the really big move comes. I am positioning some money in it. I can't say that I'm like this huge believer in solar, but you know what? If it's a new technology, if they're going to throw trillions of dollars at it, a lot of these companies are very small. They're in their infancy in terms of being a startup. So I'm taking the approach of doing a little bit in the ETF to capture the whole area, and then I'm going to speculate on some individual companies. Now, if you're crazy and you want to speculate on some of these that are completely volatile, you can look into SUNW, and the other one that I was looking at was SOL. Those look pretty crazy. They're very small, and some of them, I think they install panels and all that stuff. And I could see that being a pretty big ramping opportunity if we're going to see widespread adoption of this stuff. And if they're going to throw a bunch of money at it and trillions of dollars, I'm going to have some money there. I want to capture these gains. So I'm going to put a good allocation to it, and hopefully I'm reading the charts well enough, and hopefully that's where we are in the cycle. If solar trades like oil and uranium, then we're right there at that little hump before we see the big move higher. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping that's where we're at. And logically, it makes sense that we would be there. And if money's going to flow into the sector, it makes sense. If you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up. Thanks for listening. This is Finding Value.